With the release of Solar 3.0, we have quite the amount of new stuff in the sandbox that we can play around with, some old stuff, some new stuff, a combination of both. And one of the things I want to talk about today are the warlocks, worm gods, the winner's guile. So basically, very simple, eliminating enemies with melee attacks, increase your melee damage. Now, don't roast me, I've never had a reason to use this exotic, I never had a reason to masterwork it, I'm out of Ascendant Shards, oh well, so it's at 8. But essentially, right, I just put on a melee well maker mod, generate some elemental wells. I'm going to be playing around with the new Incinerator snap. Then we have things like heat rises and touch of flame. The main thing that you want though is heat rises. That final blows while airborne increase the duration of heat rises and grant melee energy. And then the other one that I wanted to point out is heavy handed. While charged with light, regain half of your melee energy when you use a charged melee ability, consuming 1 stack of charged with light. However, in some situations, in some scenarios, you're going to be able just to chain your melee consistently back and forth as the charged finger snap ability will, fuel the perk, the Warlord Sigil for your Winner's Guile exotic. Holy shit, it's not even infused. Alright, that's better. Yes, for this example, we'll go ahead and just throw on heavy-handed regardless. And we'll have elemental charge to become charged with light. And then for some more damage, we can just go ahead and throw on a 1-2 punch shotgun, and then we can go ahead and see this thing put in some respectable work. So now what we're going to go ahead and do, we're just going to head into this lost sector, and we're just going to go ahead and start playing around with our snap, and start stacking up our actual, our Warlord Sigil here. Go ahead, it's at 5, go ahead, snap our fingers, or it's at 4 rather. He burns away, and then, oops, shit, go ahead and snap away. I was in midair, good old, just keep on snapping about. You see what I'm saying? You're able to do some pretty decent chaining. Go ahead, snap out our fingers. Go ahead, keep just snapping out our fingers. You see, we're hitting for about a solid 29k just on the hit, the raw hit actual of itself. The ignition itself can do some more damage, which is very, very nice. Go ahead, snap out our fingers. Later enemies. Here's like another little demonstration against a more denser mob area over in the Surochi throwaway on Last Wish. See what you're able to do here whenever you're consistently able to just have your Thanos snap, Incinerator snap at the ready consistently 100% of the time, or like 95% of the time. With things like melee well maker and just heat rises, you're very able much so to consistently just have your Incinerator snap at the ready. And this thing is very, very good applying Scorch, igniting enemies whenever you get enough Scorch stacks. Very, very strong, very, very good. It's mainly all the synergy with things like heat rises. Obviously, the new Incinerator snap is just very, very solid, very, very strong in its own right. So giving it more damage is obviously very much so welcome. Things like melee well maker are very, very good. Heavy handed, and then having things like elemental charge is also very, very solid. And then you can just add things like bountiful wells to ensure that you almost have 100% uptime on your melee ability, which is what you're going for with this type of exotic. Other than that, not much left to say. Subscribe if y'all are new. Hope y'all enjoyed. My name's Kree. See you on the next one.